Hi, Bear from Bear Reads Books. Sitting here in my back garden, I had, I think, 3 Victober update videos of me outside in the park reading really interesting little things. Went to edit them this afternoon and all rubbish. They all had different technical issues, background noises, wind, just crazy stuff. So none of them worth using. So this is a Victober update, my first one. And I'm going to have to do the contents of 2 or 3 walkabout videos that I'd already done and join them all together and try and remember all of the interesting things I said. I'm sure it was interesting. So Victober for me has been an absolute eye-opener. I had given up on Victorian literature many, many years ago, and I thought choosing to do Victober was just a step too far. I'd already decided that I hated the Brontes, I hated Jane Eyre, I hated all of that stuff. And so I really didn't want to be doing this again. But I did it. Greg from Supposedly Fun recommended a book that covered off both Spookathon and Victober, so I picked up that. And then I randomly found a Victorian novel by Thomas Hardy on my shelves that I'd never read, and it was only small. So I thought that's a good introduction. So I started with the small one first, thinking that I would hate it, get it over and done with real fast. And what I chose was Under the Greenwood Tree by Thomas Hardy. And I think I've said this in previous videos, but it was a revelation. It's been fantastic. I don't know whether you've read this one. It is not like other Thomas Hardys. It's small. It's the story is reasonably compact in time as well, and there's not this grand number of characters spanning decades and decades. It is simply put a man called, and I've forgotten his name, a man called Dick Dewey, who falls in love with the new schoolmistress who's come to this small town of his, Fancy. So Dick Dewey falls in love with the new schoolmistress, Fancy Day. Great names. Dick and his friends and his brothers and sisters and his cousins all sing in the church choir. Fancy plays the organ or the piano, so the boys all get shafted from the choir. So Fancy, who's beautiful and swans in and everyone loves her, so the preacher decides to put Fancy in there playing the piano and ditch the guys. And it's just all this ribald humour and interesting accents. So if you try reading parts of it out loud, it sounds amazing. And if you have a look at my Sunday sentences, where I found 3 interesting sentences from Under the Greenwood Tree, if you check that out, I can't stop giggling in that video. It was because some of the story is just so funny. But at its heart, it is a love story, simply told in country, in small town country England, and it's perfect setting. And to give you an idea, I don't want to give away spoilers, but of course these 2 fall in love, and Dick is obsessed with Fancy. And to give you a bit of a picture of how obsessed he is with her, he walks a mile out of his way every single day so that he can pass underneath her window. He doesn't look up, but he just hopes to God that she will see him and call out, or they'll meet randomly in the street or out the front of her house. And it only happens once, but when that happens once, he's already passed by the window dozens of times. So he thinks it's fate, and all of his efforts have come to pass, and that's the beginning of their beautiful relationship. So he's been in love with her from a distance for a long time. But you don't really find out until almost the very end of the novel that in all of those times that he walked past and didn't see her, she was upstairs and saw him almost every single time, looking down on him as he passed by the window, again, not saying anything. So typical Victorian fashion. These 2 characters love each other desperately from afar, and neither of them do anything about it. It is delightful. And have a look at my Sunday sentences. It's just me giggling for 2.5 minutes as I read 3 Sunday sentences. It really is a delight. So if I was looking for an interesting way to get back into Victorian literature, I randomly and unexpectedly found it in Thomas Hardy's Under the Greenwood Tree. If you've read other Thomas Hardy and wasn't that impressed it was too big or too complex, try Under the Greenwood Tree, because it really has got me back in the Victorian literature bug. I'm not sure whether I'm ready to pick up a Bronte or to pick up an Eyre or any of those, because they're the ones that I kind of said no to a long time ago. I really didn't like them, but it is just delightful. So hold it up again. Under the Greenwood Tree by Thomas Hardy. Get onto it if you haven't read it. And I finished it and instantly picked up the one that Greg from Supposedly Fun recommended, and that was Wilkie Collins' The Woman in White. And again, I'd had this on my shelf, never read it. And again, it's very, very different. It ticks the box for Spookathon, it ticks the box for Victober, and it is this Gothic style Victorian literature. It is great. It is so easy to read and so captivating and spooky right from the very first part of the story. Like, it's called The Woman in White. I'm not giving too much away, but you literally meet the woman in white within the first 20 pages. And then you are left wondering, and I think I'm just past page 100, you're left wondering right through, who the hell is this woman? And why is there so much intrigue and mystery about her? But the writing style is very interesting too. I haven't got to any of the subsequent sections. I'm still on the first section, but apparently each section is from the perspective of the person. So the first one is Mr. Hartright, Walter Hartright, who is the guy that meets the woman in white as he's walking home from his mother and his sister's house back to his apartment in London, and he meets this strange woman on the street. And then he ends up taking a job out in the country, and there's this weird connection between the woman that he saw on the street in London and this country manor house that he's working at. And he does some investigations. So each of the sections is told from someone else's perspective, someone else in the story, whether it be one of the family members from the manor house in the North Country, or Walter in the first section. And when it changes perspective and changes narrator, I guess, because I haven't got that far, it gradually is going to reveal more of who the woman in white is and what the overall purpose is. Oh, look, a dog. Hello, Meg. Hello, Meggie. So, the woman in white. So it really has been a fantastic reintroduction to Victorian literature. It couldn't have gone better. So whatever you've chosen for your Victober, I hope it is going as well as mine. I'm going to power through The Woman in White. So hopefully your choices have been wise and Victober-y enough to hold your interest. I will see you again soon. I'll give you some more updates of The Woman in White as I go through, and there'll be some more videos out there for Spooktober and the other one, which is, Gone with the Book. So there'll be some separate videos updating you on Gone with the Book, which I've started, Mrs. Dalloway, and Spooktober, which Woman in White fits into as well. Enjoy your day, everyone. I will talk to you again soon. It's been great catching up. Bye-bye.